be honest here for a second. The Hunter in Destiny right now is about as useful as a one-legged chimp in an ass-kicking contest. Now really, why the fuck would anyone take a Hunter at this point in any activity over the Titan or the Warlock? That's like a YouTube auditor taking a 3-inch dildo instead of a 10-inch ribbed one to go fuck himself. Now look, let's not get it twisted. I use my Hunter equally with the other classes. I don't play favorites. I don't have a main character like other people. I have all 3 characters, and I have ranked up all 3 characters, and each one has the faction ranked up exactly to the same number. That shows I use these 3 completely identical. There is no difference between how I use them at all. But right now, the Hunter has fucking issues that need to be fixed or totally overhauled. Here's the biggest problem. They don't excel at anything, and the other classes perform better than the Hunter in all facets of the game. Yes, I get the lore of the character. They're the lone wolf of the group, the class that does their own thing and is supposed to be good at killing shit. But here's the reality. It's not better than the other classes at anything. Absolutely nothing about the Hunter stands out over the Titan or the Warlock. Just look at all the facets of their game. Their ability is useless for team play. Utterly fucking useless. Unlike the Titan wall that protects the team, or even the half wall that's amazing for reloading, or the Warlock healing rift and the Arc Soul, which is by far the best class ability in the game, the Hunter's dodge is a non-team ability. Yes, I can reload my guns instantly by dodging, or I can replenish my melee or invisibility in the case of a Night Stalker, but the Titan wall already does the reload for the entire team. Both versions of the rift help the whole team. The Hunter ability helps themselves, and worst of all, it really doesn't add much to the character other than an instance of movement. So when you're doing group activities, particularly the high-level activities, what fucking good does that shit do? Do you ever hear someone asking for a dodge during Callus? No, they want healing rifts. Do they want you to dodge just to reload your weapons? No, because really, who gives a fuck? For that, I could put down a small Titan wall and have 6 people reload your shit instantly. There's virtually no benefit to a Hunter ability during the raid, and only a few uses for the Hunter ability during Nightfalls, mainly with the ability to replenish your invisibility. Dodging is a pointless ability. However, I have a solution that I'm going to get to a little bit later. Based on how the game was supposed to work, Titans are supposed to be your tanky character, Warlocks are supposed to heal a little bit quicker than other characters, and your Hunter is supposed to be your fastest character, the most speed of all the characters. Well, supposed to be. Because the Titan skating is far faster than hunting running. So Titans are not only your tankiest character, but the tankiest with the most speed. Okay, so that doesn't work. How about being the best killer in the game? The lore of the character says these are the lone wolves of the group and that your Gunslinger is the one that's supposed to be a badass. But if that's the case, how come they come with the absolute shittiest grenades on all the subclasses? Oh, motherfucker, man. You know, Titans have the pulse grenades, and that's by far and away the best grenade in the game. And you get 2 of those motherfuckers if you know how to set your character up. Stormcallers, they also get a pulse grenade, and it recharges faster with your exotic helmet. Even on your Voidwalker class, you get a Vortex grenade. What grenade do you use on your Hunter? I mean, your Void Wall? Your Vortex works in a couple of cases, but what, your Arc Bolt on your Arc Strider, your Incendiary on your Gunslinger? I mean, do you think these match the Pulse Grenade, or even the Suppressor Grenade, or the Axion Bolt in the Crucible? Hell no. The only thing that comes close to being the best killer in the game right now is their Arc Strider, or the Pole Dancer's ability for ad control. You know, you combine that with the Raiden Flux chest piece, and you can spam your Arc Strider hits for your super for a shitload of a long time. It's actually quite fantastic. That's one of the few things that they do have going for them. It does require you to get up close and personal with the enemy. I mean, you literally got to put that pole right up their asshole. But it's fantastic when you're able to do so. Only shit is, the Arc Strider's hits are a little bit on the wonky side right now. For anyone that's actually used that, you know, controlling the swings on an Arc Strider takes a little bit of practice, and people need to be careful not to launch themselves off of a ledge or a cliff using that shit. I've done that shit a couple times myself, whether it's the Raid or Nightfall or some shit like that, but eventually you get the hang of that motherfucker, but it doesn't work as well as some of the other abilities in the game. But when you get to the other 2 classes besides the Arc Strider, what do they kill? Night Stalker is basically a support class, but direct hits with your arrows do virtually no damage in the Crucible. And I'll talk about the Crucible in a few minutes when I talk about some of the changes to the character. Yes, you can create orbs for your team, and yes, Orpheus Rigs can get you a shitload of orbs and replenish your super at the same time, but essentially you're creating orbs so your teammates can get their supers. So let me get this straight. Your designated killer of the team, based on the lore what the character's supposed to do, doesn't kill much, but you could create orbs for your teammates and then they do all the killing? It doesn't sound normal, man. The Golden Gun option has the option for a 6-shooter, but with a shitty timer that dwindles way too fucking quickly. The only time I ever use that shit is when I know I could spam it out a boss, or if I have a full room and I know I don't need to search for too many enemies. It's really a worthless choice if you have limited enemies in a room. The perks on that attunement are actually quite good when you look at them, but the 6-shooter itself is fucking awful. To give you an idea of how little people regard it, players figured out by not upgrading that part of your class, you can keep 3 shots that last much longer. Can you believe that? Not choosing something is actually a better perk than electing the fucking perk? What the fuck? That's like a negative perk in this motherfucker, man. The second attunement actually has much better options. Where you land your headshot and if you get a kill, it actually drops more orbs for teammate. That is an excellent perk. You only get the 3 shots, so you need to make those motherfuckers count. But that's about as close to a support and killing class as you can get with any one of the Hunter subclasses. Aside from the Celestial Nighthawk that gives you 1 big shot against a boss like Callus or some shit like that, or any of the shitty strike bosses, the Golden Gun is really only useful for those orbs on the extra headshots. So their ability doesn't really help the team, but their supers are really meant to help the team. It's like fucking backwards in this goddamn game. Crucible, another story. Back in Destiny 1, Hunters controlled almost every aspect of the Crucible. Blade Dancers and their ability to go invisible, fly through the air with the arc blade was a pain in the ass to deal with. You know, you combine that with the skip grenades and those fucking gloves back in the game, oh my god, it made them a nightmare to deal with. Mayhem was controlled by the Golden Gun. There really was no need for anything else, and now that you have one-hit kill from a distance and it recharges every 20 seconds, oh my god. Basically, if you had a Golden Gun in Mayhem, you won the game. There's no way around that. And then the Night Stalker had by far the most annoying sets of perks that you had to deal with when you had Shade Step, the second grenade with that fucking toxic smoke, the ability to mark enemy, shut down supers. Oh my god, it was by far and away the most aggravating class to fight against because it had so many powers you had to deal with. Now in Destiny 2, Arc Strider sounds great in theory, but with team shotting so prevalent in the Crucible and the super requiring you to get close with no damage resistance, you might get 1 kill, maybe 2, before people actually burn your ass. Golden Gun still works fine, probably your best option for the Crucible, but the Night Stalker, what the fuck? How come your quivers do not kill people directly on impact? No, really, they shut down supers, we get that. Yes, it tethers people and you can kill them afterwards, but why can't I kill someone with a direct shot? I mean, you still have to manage to stick them and then afterwards hit them with something else. You know, it's like a gun, a grenade, or a teammate helping you. What the fuck? Just let me kill someone outright if I nail the motherfucker. It's really a pointless super at this point, and it doesn't need to be used in the Crucible unless your whole goal is to counter other supers. So, how do you fix the Hunter? Well, there are a few things this class needs, and because this class needs a few things, you have to look at all the subclasses on a whole to see what changes are needed. First thing that needs to be replaced, get rid of the dodge. It's fucking worthless as a team perk. If Titans have a wall for protection to go with their tankiness, and Warlocks have a healing rift and an empowering rift to make you stronger, then Hunters need something that appeals to their class. Change dodge to Invisibility as their class ability for every single subclass, not just the Night Stalker. But now you have Invisibility as your class ability instead of the second grenade on the Night Stalker. Instead of throwing a grenade at the floor, Invisibility would drop similar to a Warlock rift. Basically, the Hunter shits it out. And then those close by, they can actually become invisible for a short period of time. You know, it doesn't act like a rift or a wall that stays up and available for a period of time. You know the way if you put down a rift, you can jump out of it, jump back in, jump back out, and jump back in? No. Basically, those who are close enough will go invisible. Very similar to how the grenade actually works now. Very similar to how Invisibility works right now. Because if you're not close enough, and then you step away, then you shouldn't be able to go invisible. Because otherwise, people just keep going invisible over and over and over again. So you want to make it a one-time, quick use. People that are close by, they'll go invisible with you. And since abilities come in 2 flavors, where the Titan has a big wall, little wall, Warlocks have a healing and empowering rift, Invisibility will also have 2 different abilities. The first one is your grenades will fully recharge, but only for 1 grenade. So characters who have 2 grenades, only one of them will come back at a time. If both grenades are waiting to be recharged, then only the first one is actually going to come back instantly. The second one will not be affected by this ability being used. The second form of Invisibility will make your very next bullet do increased damage. Now that could actually have a few uses, because imagine if the next bullet you fire is a rocket or a sniper shot. That could actually add quite a bit of damage to whatever the fuck it is you're shooting. I mean, it gives a Hunter a massive team PvE boost that they need, because otherwise they're fucking pointless right now. On the flip side, I can absolutely see all of the shit being abused in the Crucible. Oh man, I can just imagine all of that shit. So because of that, I've already thought out this ability. While invisibility doesn't make you completely invisible, since obviously you'll have that blue outline around your body, what it normally does to fuck with people is it takes you off the radar. It's one thing if you're using invisibility to escape an enemy, but if you're using it to attack, that would be a different story. So here's how it would work with the radar. If an invisible player is getting closer to opponents, then their signature will actually show on the radar. But as long as they're getting away from an opponent, then they're not going to show. So in other words, if you're just trying to use it to escape and you want to get away from the enemy that was shooting you, you're running away from them. That means you will not show up on their radar. But if you're using invisibility to attack your enemies and you're running full charge into someone, that's going to show on a player's radar and they'll be able to see your blue outline. The idea of adding invisibility to the team with beneficial perks, but limiting what it can do in the Crucible, is what the class needs right now on a whole. Now, let's dive into the subclasses, because obviously this is going to impact quite a bit when it comes to the Night Stalker. Basically, I took away that invisibility grenade. But not only do I want to upgrade the Night Stalker, but the Gunslinger and the Pole Dancer also need some fucking help. First off, Gunslinger, remove 6-shooter. Oh my god. Turn that into like a perk on an exotic fucking armor or some shit like that. Similar to Howard's choice of a Celestial Nighthawk, one big shot we have, or the 4-shot helmet we had in Destiny 1. Give a hunter an exotic armor that offers up a 6-shooter, or better yet, change those fucking Mechaneer gloves, which are already a fucking joke. Change that to 6-shooter gloves. That'll make that exotic somewhat useful. Instead, replace the 6-shooter with exploding shots again. Kill enemies with headshots and makes them explode into other enemies, because that was a fantastic perk to actually have in Destiny 1. All the other parts of the Gunslinger I think are perfectly fine, so that's the only one change I will make on that subclass. Pole Dancer, all about the melee, which is incredibly stupid when you don't have that much damage resistance. One attunement has all melee damage with no damage resistance, while the other one says each dodge gives you damage resistance from your super. Meanwhile, the rest of the perks are all about recharging melees, grenades, whatever with the dodge. Unless you plan on punching every PvE enemy to death and running up on players hoping they don't team shot you, these abilities are somewhat useless compared to other subclasses. On top of all the dodge related perks that are now invisibility, this subclass needs quite a few changes. First off, in the way of the Warrior Attunement, both dodge related items have to go. Add invisibility that'll increase your melee range, and a new perk, add grenade hits that will increase your sprinting speed. Basically, this is something for the Crucible. You hit someone or something with a grenade, and if you charge in after them, you'll actually have a little bit more ability to do so. On the second attunement, Way of the Wind, remove focus breathing. That's just fucking stupid. Oh god, that perk is goddamn useless. Instead, add quicker ADSing after a full sprint. Add the ability to aim down sight a lot faster, similar to what we had in a perk in Destiny 1. So basically, bringing back the old Blade Dancer perk that we had in Destiny 1. Finally, Night Stalker, and with invisibility gone, this really changes almost the entire class. It needs a new melee. And you know what? You can do a couple things with the different melee. You could do like a Poison Strike melee where enemies are slowed in poison, or a Disorient melee similar to what the Pole Dancer has, but an actual fucking melee. No more of this second grenade shit. The fucking Night Stalker with the second grenade was one of the stupidest fucking decisions they could ever come up with. Get rid of that shit. In the first attunement, you have the Snare Bomb, which needs to be removed. Change that to a melee that hits and slows down enemies. Vanishing Step can be turned into Shade Step as the dodge, so the character can continue to keep that. So the other two characters, they lose the full-time dodge, but dodge isn't completely removed because you could turn that into Shade Step, which the Night Stalker originally had in Destiny 1. On the way to the Pathfinder attunement, obviously the dodge is gone. Change that to invisibility will grant you a 10% overshield, even in low health. You'll get a blue shield, basically adding an extra hit to your health in a pinch. It gives you a little bit of an extra chance to escape if you have damage coming inwards. For lockdown, change smoke to invisibility and leave the other two perks alone. But the biggest change is that direct hits with the quiver will kill things, particularly in the fucking Crucible. Yes, hitting enemies in the head with a fucking arrow will actually kill them this time. Otherwise, what the fuck would be the point of a super ability that doesn't kill shit? It made it fucking pointless. So those are the changes that the Hunter needs to make. I highly doubt Bungie is actually going to listen to this shit. But But essentially, we made changes to PvE, we made changes to the Crucible, so now the Hunter would have some team abilities and a few different abilities to play within the Crucible. Now, as far as the Titan and the Warlock, right now, I think they're in a pretty good area. I don't think they need too many changes. I know a post-grenade nerf is coming. There's just no question about that. It's just a matter of when Bungie actually does it. But essentially, these two classes, they seem to be pretty good. Although there are some things I would like to buff, but otherwise, it doesn't need a full video like this motherfucker. So anyways, now that you can see how I would improve the Hunter, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.